On October 29, 2025, thousands of Tanzanians faced an election where the outcome seemed predetermined before a single vote was cast. The ruling party had barred the main opposition from participating entirely, leaving Samia Suluhu Hassan unopposed by any real contenders. Recognizing this, the people chose the official election day to show their disapproval. From the moment the polling stations opened, protests erupted across the country. Citizens flooded the streets, chanting how they wanted their country back, rejecting not just the ballot, but the entire system. What started in scattered neighborhoods exploded into multiple cities. Crowds swelled, anger intensified, and the protests spread hour by hour. The unrest even reached the haven of peace, or Dar es Salaam, shattering Tanzania's reputation for stability. The government responded swiftly. Within hours, authorities shut down the internet. Social media vanished. Tanzania disappeared from the digital world. By evening, a nationwide 6 p.m. curfew took effect. What happened next unfolded in darkness, unseen by the world, until fragments of footage pierced through the blackout. Days later, verified videos from BBC and Al Jazeera, images from activist accounts like Mange Kimambi, bloggers like Cyprian Nyakundi, and posts on X, too sensitive for YouTube, revealed a horrifying pattern. Systemic targeting with consistent head and chest shots. This wasn't crowd control. This was execution methodology. Precise, coordinated, and deliberate. In this episode, we unpack the systemic collapse of Tanzanian democracy, how a sham election ignited a popular uprising, how state officials carried out a shocking massacre against their own people, and how the government attempted a cover-up to hide a truth that would cement Suluhu's legacy in blood. To understand the violence of October 29, 2025, we must go back to the moment Tanzania's political landscape shifted fundamentally. When President John Magufuli died suddenly in March 2021, Samia Suluhu Hassan assumed power within 48 hours. She became Tanzania's first female president and the first woman to lead any nation in East Africa. International media celebrated her ascent. She lifted media bans, released political prisoners, and opened space for debates that authorities had long suppressed. But within a year, everything changed. The early openings evaporated quietly. Media freedoms disappeared. Fear and surveillance crept back in. By April 2025, the CCM regime had made its intentions unmistakable. Authorities arrested opposition leader Tundu Lissu and banned his party Chadema entirely, citing technicalities, essentially crushing the only organized political alternative. Lissu had survived 16 bullets in 2017 and after he returned, rebuilt his movement from exile. He had warned that any election without meaningful reforms would lack legitimacy. Now his voice was silenced. By October, any chance of a genuine contest had been erased. The leading opposition figure was imprisoned, his party disqualified, oversight curtailed, the media silenced, and the political field engineered for a single outcome. But silencing Lissu didn't silence dissent, it redirected it. With no other viable choice on the ballot, Tanzania's young population took to the internet. They organized boycotts, coordinated protests, and vowed to expose what they saw as a predetermined election.
Mpaka mtusikilize wananchi, tunataka tukusikilizwa. Yaani main point ni kusikilizwa, tusikilizeni shida tulizonazo, alafu muone kama kutakuwa na any problem. Lakini hili jambo la kuendelea kutisha wananchi, wabadilishe kauli, sijui tusiandamane, sijui nini. This won't help. Sisi tutaandamana, mtatuua, watafufuka wengine huko, watasema and trust me, siku yaja the freedom itapatikana tu. no matter what.
As election day approached, the regime revealed its readiness. Police issued nationwide warnings against sharing violent or graphic content. Suluhu herself warned protesters directly. The government stood ready.
Nataka kuambia wasithubutu, kibati tu kikipasuka, sisi tuko nao. Tumejipanga vizuri.
The tone sounded less like caution and more like a threat. The stage was set. Everything that would unfold on October 29th would prove that this election was never designed to be contested, and the violence had been pre-planned, with even senior police vowing they would be there to secure her presidency by any means. On the day of the polls, the protests escalated far beyond anyone's expectations. Unlike neighboring Kenya, large-scale demonstrations were rare in Tanzania. Yet, crowds poured into the streets with fierce determination across Tanzania, with even Kenyans around the Namanga border wanting to cross over in solidarity with the protesting Tanzanians. They targeted polling stations, billboards bearing the president's image, and businesses linked to ruling party figures, including the new appointed Prime Minister Mwigulu Nchemba's Kayad.
Kama unavyoona, hii ni hadi ya magari ya Mwigulu Nchemba ya Esther. Yote watu wameyateketeza moto.
What began as scattered protests evolved into a coordinated rejection of the political system itself. 5 major cities erupted simultaneously. The government responded by imposing a 6 p.m. curfew and shutting down the internet completely. Eyewitnesses reported coordinated operations involving regular police, intelligence agents, and unidentified armed men, widely believed to include paramilitary units. Rather than using non-lethal crowd control like tear gas and water cannons, these forces deployed nothing but live ammunition against unarmed civilians. As videos emerged, the violence pattern became undeniable. Verified footage from BBC and Al Jazeera and activist accounts documented concentrated gunshot wounds to the head and chest, not scattered wounds, but a consistent targeting methodology that indicated execution rather than dispersal. The sheer number of casualties completely overwhelmed the hospitals, shattering their ability to cope. Armed personnel controlled hospital entrances, confiscating phones and recording devices from medical staff and threatening those who attempted to document victims. Yet, some managed to secretly preserve footage and pass it on anonymously to the outside world. Even in the face of police warnings instructing citizens not to share images, recordings continued to surface, revealing the human cost of the crackdown and standing as a powerful act of defiance. Fear could only go so far, and many people still chose to document and expose these atrocities. Footage from Wananyamala mortuary exposed a chilling reality. Multiple rooms filled with the decomposing bodies that obscured the floor beneath. According to the video, at least 100 bodies occupied the facility. Mount Meru Hospital showed similar conditions. Corpses piled on floors, decomposing with no storage space remaining. According to the UN Human Rights Chief, authorities removed bodies from hospitals and mortuaries and transported them to undisclosed locations for mass burial. Video evidence documented security forces collecting bodies directly from killing scenes, showing profound disregard for the dignity of the deceased, just like in the morgues or hospitals. These actions revealed both the scale of the violence and a systemic failure to treat victims with basic humanity. While blood still wet the hospital floors, the Electoral Commission announced that Samia Suluhu Hassan had secured over 97% of the vote, claiming a record turnout of over 30 million people. This number represented not just a lie, but a profound insult to the electorate's intelligence. International observers declared the official results statistically impossible, and videos exposed officials marking and stuffing ballot boxes themselves. But to the ruling CCM party, it was business as usual. On November 3rd, the inauguration proceeded in a heavily militarized operation insulated from the reality outside the gates. In the days following this illegitimate victory, the regime revealed its true contemptuous nature. As families pleaded for the release of wrongfully arrested loved ones or sought to recover bodies for burial, the president busied herself securing her own future. In a shocking move, she appointed her own daughter and son-in-law to the cabinet. This arrogance extended to the government's handling of the massacre itself. In a clumsy bid to control the narrative, the Ministry of Health issued a statement dismissing the graphic media as fake. This was immediately contradicted by the cruel reality as family members actually identified their loved ones from the alleged fake videos. Under intense public pressure, this cover-up collapsed. The ministry quietly deleted the post, a digital admission of guilt. With their digital defense shattered and the internet blackout finally lifting, the wall of diplomatic silence completely crumbled. The outcry reached far beyond the continent as US senators publicly condemned the crackdown. Even the former Botswana president, Ian Khama, openly questioned the legitimacy of Suluhu's government.
For any leader to think they are the only ones who can be presidents is pathetic. And therefore, and my apology to those who may come from Tanzania, and I'm mentioning this because they are your neighbor, that the recent election and what transpired, the killings around that election, I, for one, do not recognize the person who was inaugurated as the president. She is an illegitimate president.
2 weeks after the election, the state still hides the official death toll, leaving a terrifying void filled by conflicting estimates ranging from hundreds to up to 3,000 casualties according to rights groups. Faced with this void and the demand for answers, the government's response was not accountability but the ultimate insult: the announcement of a commission of inquiry, effectively tasking the killers with investigating the murders.
Jana nilikuwa nasoma article fulani, wenzetu wapinzani wanasema hawana imani na tume yote ya ndani. Wanataka tume itoke UN, tume itoke AU, tume itoke wapi kwa European Union, ndo zije zifanye kazi hapa kwetu Tanzania. Lakini mimi nina imani sana kwa ubobezi na experience yenu, na imani sana na tume hii, na ni matumaini yangu mapendekezo yatatutoa tusogee mbele. Sasa baada ya kusema hayo, niseme tu kwamba tume hii nimeizindua rasmi na nawatakia kazi njema.
This final act of contempt shattered any illusion that justice would be delivered through the official channels. The Tanzanian people have moved beyond waiting for permission to grieve. The youth are mobilizing for December 9th, their official Independence Day. The symbolism is deliberate. They intend to reclaim their country, not from colonizers, but from a regime that values its own power over their lives. Tens of thousands have signed petitions demanding for real consequences like targeted sanctions, frozen assets, and suspension from regional bodies. If the world normalizes this massacre, it becomes a blueprint for upcoming elections across the region. The current and future dictators are watching to see if the world looks away. Only time will tell as the world watches.
Takuwa na maandamano ambayo hayajawahi kutokea katika bara la Afrika. Maandamano yatakayotokea tarehe 9, sijui wewe utakimbilia wapi. Hakutakuwa na mswalie mtume. Maandamano hayo yatakuwa ni maandamano yaliyojaa utulivu, maandamano ambayo hayana fujo, wala hakutachomwa vitu vya watu kama ilivyotokea ile mara ya kwanza. Ile mara ya kwanza watu walijaa hasira sana. Sasa wanaelewa kitu kinachotakiwa. Lengo la maandamano ni kumuondoa Samia Suluhu Hassan madarakani, na maandamano haya yatakuwa ni maandamano ya mwendelezo mpaka utakapoondoka madarakani. Usitegemee kuona fujo, usitegemee kuona watu wanachoma vitu, na polisi wasionekane barabarani. Tunachotaka wanajeshi ndio wawe barabarani wakiwa pamoja wanaandamana na waandamanaji, wasionekane polisi barabarani. Hili tunalirudia, tunalisisitiza, na ndivyo itakavyokuwa. Mama Samia, umefika wakati wa kuachia ngazi.